So we're live on YouTube now, real quick.
Perfect.
Right on.
What's your YouTube channel? I'll subscribe.
It's just I think it's just my first name and last name, Mickey San Miguel. Ah, shit. Yeah, that's right. I can't go on Facebook now. I closed that like that third-party app shit.
Yeah.
I basically stopped the API functionality to YouTube, right? So now the connecting through, third-party applications like we're doing now doesn't allow me.
Yeah, man, that's annoying.
I know.
Are you saying Mickey or just Mickey San Miguel?
Mickey San Miguel. Yep.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why. Okay. There you go. Okay, cool. I see it.
Right on. So YouTube, just waiting, man. Trying to connect to Facebook, then we'll get started chatting with Norman here.
Yeah. Are you doing the do you have like questions and stuff lined up, or is this like a freestyle?
Actually, I don't, man, and I typically don't like to line stuff up just because I mean we end up going crazy, right? My
Yeah.
mind goes all over the place. Never works out, ever.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially when you're talking about this shit.
Yep.
Like, I don't think I think it's rare when people stay on topic in a crypto discussion.
Oh
They
yeah.
just like go off topic, talk about like thousands of other stuff that's completely irrelevant. Why is my computer doing that? Oh, that's why. Yeah. Give me a second. I need to plug this thing in.
You're good, man. All right. Is like whoever's watching this, as most of you know, we just Facebook is having like some privacy issues with a company called, what was the company's name? Cambridge Analytica, and probably a lot of entities in between, but I ended up disabling my settings because of it. So now I'm just trying to get reconnected so I could stream on Facebook too.
How fast is your computer that it allows you to stream on Facebook and YouTube?
Damn. I mean, as far as specs,
Are you using a
I
desktop?
think I do all right. Yeah, I do use a desktop.
Oh, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I built this thing like last year, and we tried to get like some decent specs on this guy. So it has a decent GPU and
Yeah.
and see it's pretty. It's a gaming computer setup basically.
But I don't play games on it.
That's
No.
funny.
Yeah. Why is this thing not? All right, we might not be able to go live on Facebook. Yep, it's just me. Okay.
Have you been following that thing that's been going on in Austin?
No, what's going on in Austin?
So someone is sending bombs and packages.
Dude, yeah, so I've heard about it. Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't honestly read up on it, but I've just seen titles from actually Adriana, another crypto friend I follow, was shooting out some articles on that. But no, man, I mean, what do you know? What's going on?
I mean, I don't know. I just know people are sending packages in the mail and they're exploding. And it's crazy because I'm in Texas too. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm scared to go to Austin.
Damn.
Because I typically, like I go to 6th Street all the time in Austin because that's where all the bars and stuff are at.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, I can't even go to my city anymore. But I mean, just in general, there's a lot of like I think Austin is the biggest city in Texas for crypto and all that stuff in the
It
space.
is. It is. It's a hub for crypto. Yep.
Yes, I mean I know a couple of hedge fund guys and stuff out there, and like the community out there is just big. It's pretty big in Houston, but I want to say Austin has a higher. Austin just has a it has more. It just has more people and like the quality of the people there too. Like you have more seasoned crypto businessmen in Austin versus Houston. I think Houston is more for enthusiasts. Like if you just like it in general, but like if you're looking to make a name for yourself, Austin is a space to go.
Right on. Nice.
That's where the Bitcoin conference is too. I mean, they have one in Houston too, I believe, but Austin is like the one for Texas.
Damn, that's crazy though. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know who the hell would be sending packages like that.
Yeah.
Like, have they gone off or anything? I can't connect to Facebook, so we'll just.
A couple people have been killed.
No way.
Yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that, but this is the 6th package explosion to go off.
Damn.
But this one went off inside of a FedEx what's that word called warehouse or whatever.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
So I mean, at least it didn't get delivered to anyone's doorstep, but I mean, people still work in the fulfillment center.
Right. That's insane, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You can't do anything nowadays.
I know, and I was just I think chanting to somebody at work, and you know we at work it's you know typical corporate environment. You usually don't bring up politics or anything like that.
Yeah, same way here.
But yeah, so one of my coworkers brought up, you know, there was another school shooting in I think Maryland or something.
Yeah.
This morning, and yeah, I mean, basically, our culture and society is jacked right now, man. And
yeah, man, that's ridiculous.
We've got a lot of shit to turn around, no doubt, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we've got work to do with the just in general with everything from like policy to just like things like gun control to just I mean, corporate America itself has a whole bunch of work to do because I don't even want to get started with work.
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh man, I just
rip it to shreds. I know. I'm with you.
I just want to say ever since I got into crypto, I haven't been for the whole corporate thing. Like when I started, I was just it inspired me to do a whole bunch of reading. Then, you know, you learn about the whole Federal Reserve banking system, finance, and how all that stuff works. And it's funny because I used to work in finance too. I used to work for a Wall Street bank. I don't want to say the name because, I'm not going to say the name, but you look it up, you'll see. I used to work for a Wall Street bank, and like it was just, I mean, the shit that you hear is just ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, getting up to that level, it's like, you know, there's a separation between like reality and you know endeavors. Let's just say.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt. Yeah.
Did we start?
Yeah. No, we're starting, man. I can't get going on Facebook. It's I don't know. I think I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I think I have to honestly shut down the app. Restart it and then try to connect to Facebook. But we're live on YouTube. I'll extract it, throw it on DTube also.
Okay.
And then from there, I'll toss it on Facebook and we'll share it around or whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I didn't know, but like I used to. I mean, so I might as well just talk about how I got into like crypto and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So yeah, just a quick background on yourself, man, and you know, just a short little basically, I mean, for the viewers or whatever, like, I met Norman through the crypto scene and just, I guess, found each other on, you know, social media, Facebook, wherever the hell it was, doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm in like 60 like crypto groups. So if it wasn't like Omar's crypto group, it was probably like Cryptoholics or Crypto Assets.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I think those are the two that I mainly follow. So yeah.
Those tend to be the most active.
Yeah, and I've been extremely eager to I mean connect with people and talk about how, you know, they got introduced into the space and like what exactly drove you into it and why the hell are you optimistic about it and intrigued about either the technology because it touches like on a ton of different aspects of society. And I always say this, but there's, you know, a social change, there's economic changes,
There's industrial
technological,
change.
industrial change, no doubt. So anyways, it touches on a lot of aspects that of society that, you know, we all are a part of. So I'm always intrigued on what drives other people and you know where they plan to take their knowledge and you know utilize it and you know obviously take the whole crypto space even further, you know, in educating people and you know the whole rap.
Yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, so I want to say that I got started in crypto around like 2016. Like my actual introduction, or the first time I even heard the word cryptocurrency or blockchain or any of that. I didn't even hear the word blockchain until like 2016. I want to say the first word I heard is Bitcoin. So, you know,
Yep.
Bitcoin was, a lot of people just considered it synonymous with the word blockchain. But yeah, around like
Yep.
2012, um, I was in high school at the time. I was a senior in high school, so you can pretty much guess how old I am now. But I hear the word Bitcoin on CNN, right? And obviously it's an article about drugs. It's an article about like, you know, Silk Road and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, oh wait, why do I want to get into this thing if I'm, you know, if people are dealing with drugs? Because I mean, let's face it, I'm like 18 years old. The last thing on my mind is digital currency changing the world and all that. So I'm not really doing my research into it. Just hear an article about drugs, kind of just dismiss it. Then fast forward a couple years later, when I'm in college now, and I get a job working at this bank, working for this Wall Street bank as a developer. I majored in computer science, so
Right
that's
on.
kind of like my tech background for you. So
Yep.
got a job at this bank as a developer, and when I get the job, one of my friends that I ran track with in high school, we didn't even go to the same school. Like we went to rival schools. I could probably count like the number of times that I saw this guy like ever in high school on my hands because you know we went to different schools. We played the same sport, but we're on different teams. So when I get the job at Wall Street, he reaches out to me and he's like, "Hey man, like you know we should reconnect." And then I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we started we started talking through Facebook and everything. And he more or less kind of asked me like, "Hey, like you know, so it's great that you're working at Wall Street. You know, you work in finance and all that." So I asked him, "Okay, cool. What are you doing?" So he tells me about everything that he's been doing, and he tells me about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all that stuff. And at the time, I'm not one of those people who just dismiss it like, "Oh, you're dealing drugs and stuff on the Silk Road. You're a bad person, whatever."
Right.
But I kind of just I was curious at the time because I wanted to know what it was. So he sent me like websites and stuff like, you know, CoinDesk, the actual Bitcoin wiki page so I could read it myself. Just numerous resources that I could look at like Coinbase. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is interesting stuff. So I start reading about it. And then like I instantly just like fall in love with the idea of it because it kind of aligned with things that I wanted to do. So I truthfully, I didn't like working for people. I didn't like the whole idea of government control virtually. Like there are governments in some countries that literally have aspect over every single part of your life. And
Yep.
after reading through, you know, the wiki page for Bitcoin, doing my research, I literally just fell in love with it because, you know, I have a tech background. So after doing some reading, I understood the tech behind Bitcoin, how it worked and everything.
Yeah. So
So
and sorry to interrupt, dude. But your background in computer science, like the tech has to be fascinating to you, right?
oh yeah, like it was literally like I read it and like I had a high. I was like
Yeah. Yep.
man, this thing is crazy.
Yep.
Like why doesn't everybody know about this thing? So from that point forward, I got addicted to the point where so I worked in a Wall Street bank and like obviously at the time it wasn't JP Morgan, But at the time, like everybody was so anti-Bitcoin, all that, you know, it's synonymous with drugs. This is before, you know, the whole ICO craze. Didn't even know what an ICO was at the time because it didn't take off yet. So people are giving me crap because I'm the Bitcoin guy who's working in a Wall Street bank. So for lack of a better word, I got bullied for it.
Yep.
But it was all good because Bitcoin was around like $500 at the time, and then look at the price now. And don't get me started with Ethereum. Ethereum was at like $14. So from a price perspective, like from then and now, obviously that was, you know, doing pretty great.
Yeah.
But so I didn't meet my friend in person yet. So on the 4th of July, he invited me to his place, and he was telling me, obviously I've been doing my reading about crypto. I'm so interested in it, but it didn't really like hit me like, yo, this thing can actually change the world until I met him on the 4th of July. And on the 4th of July, he more or less laid out what he was doing, like his actual roadmap. So turns out my friend had been mining in 2011 to play Texas Hold'em. So his little epiphany came from when all that Bitcoin that he had mined on his laptop, the price had shot up to around $1,000 eventually. You know, you go back, look at the chart, you'll see when that first like spike was when it broke 1,000. And like that's when it hit him like, yo, like I have the potential to actually do something great with crypto and all that. So what him and his friend did was they took their money, or they took their Bitcoin, the money that they made with that, and they invested it into one of the first mining warehouses in Jersey at the time.
Oh shit.
One of the first ones that I was aware of in Jersey at the time. And mind you, these guys, like they have a mining warehouse in like 2012 mining crypto. So you can pretty much guess like what the value of what they have now is with that mining thing, with their mining fact warehouse. But basically what happened was eventually the difficulty got too high and they weren't profitable anymore. So the next thing for him was, okay, he majored in computer science, transferred a couple of schools, but he was a developer. And what he started doing was, this is before we reconnected. So this is before I touched base with him when I was working on Wall Street. So basically he was working on his own project, his own crypto project. And when I finally touched base with him, he had been working on that project for 2 years. And now it's 2018, and that project, he's ICOing that project, I believe. And based off of people we've spoken to, because we're pretty well connected in terms of like in I guess the startup space, he has the potential to raise around like $50 million for his project.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
So he's at that phase now.
Yeah, he's at that phase where he's going to raise around $50 million for his project. And I can't say the name of his project.
No, you're good. You're good. Can you give a little bit of an insight on exactly what the project is doing, or a little tidbit?
Yeah, I can give an insight on the project. So it's shoot, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'll be vague with it. It's a way to rent anything.
It's a way to what? I'm sorry.
It's a way to rent anything that you own.
Okay.
Asset management.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
nice.
Think of like crypto asset management, and at the same time, it allows you to virtually rent any object that you own and earn money off of that. And the ownership is maintained through its own individual blockchain. And what that allows is like I can rent you something, and then you can rent what I gave you to somebody else, and then the ownership of that is like we can track the ownership of that, like who owns what through his particular blockchain.
Sure. Yeah. Nice. Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
and
nice.
Then there's different aspects to his project too, like for corporations, the asset management helps corporations. Absolutely. Because they can keep track of things, small things like mice, keyboards, to big things such as even like company cars and stuff like that. It allows them to keep track of the ownership of who's responsible for what. So when it comes to things like billing, if somebody loses something, we know who to bill and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know how much of that shit actually gets lost, man? I mean, asset management is huge. A lot of it gets
lost. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why this is such an interesting use case, but it's going to work.
Yep. Awesome.
And they've already raised a couple $1 million privately, so like they're doing real well. But to get back on topic with me though, like I think that's a pretty bomb introduction for like into the space. One of your friends majored in computer science with you, same major as you. entrepreneur. He's the same age as me too, and so that kind of inspired me to learn as much as possible. And so, I mean, what I've been doing is I've just been reading nonstop, audiobooks, podcasts, now doing YouTube videos and everything. And I guess ever since that interaction, I haven't been this motivated to just be, just be great, just never stop learning.
Absolutely,
and
dude.
Start my own thing. So, I mean, he inspired me to get into crypto, study economics. Even though I worked in finance, get deeper into software development, and even get into blogging, get into entrepreneurship too. So I ended up starting my own. I ended up starting my own real estate company too. But
nice.
Yeah, we're not traditional though. I started a corporate housing company.
Oh, damn.
So typically what happens is you have like interns. When interns intern in other states, they need places to stay for the summer. Typically, internship is 3 months, and companies will pay you for that. They'll pay the interns. They'll give them a stipend, and they will need a place to stay at for 3 months. So that was a problem because I used to work in aerospace too, and when I interned in Seattle, and finding a place I remember was pretty difficult because I'm like 21 years old, don't know where to stay at all. Got to figure this adulting thing out.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yep.
Now that I'm out the game and I've been in a situation, I started a company with a friend, and we don't just, we offer people corporate housing.
Right on, dude. Damn.
Yeah. So, that's crazy. So I mean, that's my introduction. And then the profits I make from that go right back into crypto because I just started reading different books. Average millionaire has like 7 streams of income. I was like, okay, I need 7 streams of income. Cool. Blogging on Steemit, YouTube, got my corporate day job. I have a mining rig too. You can't see it, but my rig is like in the corner of my room.
Right on. Yep.
And then start a business too. So I think that's like 6. So I just need one more thing, and that'll make it 7. And
let's see.
Take all the profits, put it back into crypto.
Hey man, so you're a software developer, a developer of some sort. Obviously, software.
Yeah, background in like building software and stuff like that. Right now, I'm a consultant though.
Yeah, so there's I mean, you can consider another stream of income is like working some open bounties on some open source bounties or something on the blockchain, because I know. Yeah. I mean, anyways, they have that. You can consider that your 7th one, and at least call it complete for the moment, man. Get your fulfillment and satisfaction. That's awesome, dude. Damn, that's insane.
Yeah, so I mean, I've just been motivated, man. Just gotta be great. Gotta learn something every day. I really don't even listen to music anymore.
Yeah.
I listen to audiobooks, podcasts. If I'm at like a bar or party, obviously I gotta listen to music. But for the most part, I have to learn every single day, or else I go crazy.
Dude, that's absolutely. I find myself in that same space, and at least from the educational and learning aspect of it, and almost verbatim, man. Also doing the same thing, podcast every day, reading as much as I can. Like there was a moment I was getting like 3 hours of sleep a night, man, just because I needed to keep up on what was what was blockchain. Okay, cool. Oh, so I figured out what blockchain was.
Same exact thing. I was pulling all-nighters just studying, just going to meetings and stuff, and I have a day job.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that I have a day job and I have a family to attend to. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I've had to I've sacrificed I've sacrificed a lot to try and keep up with what's going on, man. I think I'm getting into a little area where I'm feeling comfortable, and that's basically just what I learn I have to try to apply. And I mean that's probably the hardest part. I'll be honest. You like your introduction, by the way, dude, phenomenal. Okay.
Thank you.
Seriously, that's like a hell of a way to get introduced into the space.
It's literally $1 million way.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
I'm not even done with it though, because so when I used to work at this when I used to work in when I used to work as a developer at this bank, what happened was I was living for free in the city in New York City because my brother is in the military and he went overseas on a to like work this contractor job. What happens is you have a lot of veterans who get out of the service, but they still are employed by government agencies
Yep.
or private military agencies, stuff like that.
Yep.
So he lived in the city, or his address was in the city, but he was overseas in the Middle East. So what happened was he gave me his place to stay at. So I was taking all my paychecks and just buying like Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, Bitcoin was like 300, I think, at the time. So Bitcoin was at like 300 or something like that. I'm just buying as much Bitcoin as possible, buying as much like Ether as possible, like $14. And at one point I had 140 Ether. And
oh my God.
Yeah. And then real life just hit me. So I had to graduate college, and I didn't have any money. I didn't have any financial aid didn't come through quick enough for me to pay for school. And my school has this kind of, or my school's I guess bursars department that handles payments and all that. They have this policy where like, hey man.
So it's not that you didn't have money, you just didn't have the traditional type of money, right?
Yeah. I didn't have I didn't have I didn't have make believe money.
Yeah.
I didn't have the paper equivalent of fool's gold at the time, because I was just buying crypto with everything. But at the same time, I was receiving a scholarship and financial aid, so I had to sell all of my crypto, which is around like $5,000 or $6,000 worth of Ether at the time, to pay for school. And like it just sucked, man.
Yeah.
And I beat myself up every day for that, because that's like in December, that's like $700,000 worth of ETH.
Damn.
And in fool's gold value, fiat value, it's $700,000.
Right.
But I kind of use it as motivation, because maybe I could have maybe at the time, if I just saved it till now, I may not have been as motivated, because I'm like, what do I need to learn all this for? I have I have all this money, I don't need to learn anymore. So I use it as motivation, and I use it as a reason to it's kind of like a reason to hodl, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. Yeah, because I'm we're in a similar situation. We we discovered crypto probably early, I don't know, 2016 or something. Really didn't invest in anything too much. I think we bought, I don't know, we bought a little bit of some ETH or whatever. And honestly, I'll fucking say it right now. We used it on Silk Road, by the way. And
it's okay. They got shut down, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, also down a similar path though, man. I'm not. I work a typical job, corporate job, as a database analyst, and every little bit that we can toss into crypto, we do, honestly. And it makes it hard for us, because what it does is it like gives us a little bit of discipline to not spend, right? Not over consume, because the Western culture is like, I mean, we consume the shit out of the planet, man.
Yeah, this is a consuming culture, and we're incentivized to spend, if you really think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a huge incentive to spend in this country when you have a currency that is losing its value every year. It's like, why would I hold this when I know that something is going to cost more in the future? But I mean, that whole idea in itself could spawn another debate too, because when you look at Bitcoin being I guess a deflationary currency, you could kind of ask the opposite question too, like, hey, why would I want to use this currency if it's just going to go up in value every year? So that's actually an interesting debate, and I honestly don't even know the answer to. I don't know the definite answer to that question.
Yeah, a lot of people, Yeah, I mean, money is a funny thing, and that's
Yeah,
one of the beautiful things at least for me, that came out of this is, it gets us to ask that question about what the hell money actually is, and
yeah,
at the end of the day,
and
it's
that's
some kind of expression of value that we give to somebody else. We use it as a
yeah,
language. I like Andreas Antonopoulos's definition of it, and uh, it's crazy. At least with traditional currencies, they only last something like 60 years or something.
yeah,
And then eventually you got to, start from the ground up, figure something out, launch something new. This is
yeah.
at least going to take it a little bit further, but I think the question is still there.
Hmm.
Philosophically, how do we keep society maintained? So
Yeah.
it is crazy.
And I mean, and even with that, it's funny that you say that because I listen to his lectures all the time at work, and uh, it's funny that you say that because like just listening to all this has me questioning everything, like literally every single thing that's going on from like not just from a money perspective, from like from a government perspective to
Yes,
like a
sir.
control perspective to like a security perspective. Um, and a lot of my friends can attest to this too. Once they got into crypto and they got like deep into it and they understood the tech, like that they everything that they took for granted, they questioned, like their political views. I had friends who used to be Democrats, Republicans. Now like they've become libertarians, or now they're just they either become libertarians or they're just anarchists.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
I consider myself an anarchist now, man. And I
yeah,
think, it's not, and there's bad connotation around it. It's not this chaotic thing. It's just about,
yeah,
this individual self-identity, and I am actually responsible enough to roam around this world and make, sound decisions, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Like a lot of people think it's like, oh, like anarchy, let's run around and burn the city down.
right. Yeah.
fuck
No, but
all the dollars. We want crypto.
yeah, yeah. But from like, and I think it was you. I'm not sure. I guess are you familiar with Cliff High?
Oh yeah, I like
Yeah.
yeah. Cliff High is the man.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. I love the dude. I love listening to him, and one of the reasons is because I'm not big or huge in metaphysics, but like, that whole realm of like traditional physics intrigues me. That's actually kind of what led me into crypto, down the path of cryptography, and how numbers are interpreted in the universe, and all of these things, right?
Yeah,
Um, and uh, Basically, it's this moment that we're living in. I see it as like some kind of as evolution, or the universe trying to speak to us, and like, basically try and get out of the chokehold of being held down for so long, right?
yeah. I
And
just
of being basically impeded of growing, and the evolving naturally, like we would have done, but with a lot of control systems put in play, like you were just saying, governments, all of these things that we're now questioning. It's we're seeing basically the inverse of it all, man.
yeah,
What could we have had without it?
yeah. I don't know. I just think these are really interesting times because if you kind of think about it, it's like the information age in itself has produced so many smart individuals, and for the first time you can pretty much learn anything without having to pay for it. But at the same time, you have so many people who are, for lack of a better word, I'm not gonna say stupid because now I sound like a dick, but like people who are just like asleep to
Yeah,
like all that stuff. So I mean, when I started listening to Cliff on top of like cryptos was
I
for me was
know.
just it was just some next level shit.
Yep,
I didn't think
absolutely.
I didn't think anybody could be like intelligent and stuff. And then when I started like researching the webbot, doing research into that stuff too, I'm not gonna lie. I first thought it was bullshit. I'm not gonna. I thought it was bullshit. Then I did my reading, watched a couple of interviews, looked at a couple of reports and stuff, and then I was like, yo, this is kind of like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I've always naturally kind of gravitated towards that stuff. And I think, maybe it was like some kind of some conscious decision to basically kind of drown out reality, right? And,
Yeah,
just wish for something else. But yeah, I've always been intrigued by the crazy stuff going on. The stuff that, we typically wouldn't um I, I guess talk about or even think of, right?
yeah.
But stuff that you think of in your bedroom when you're sleeping or, before whatever. This stuff that
Besides when I'm gonna quit my job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, that's crazy. That's cool. Very, very nice. Um let's see. I don't know what else I had something else brewing up, but I forget what the hell it was.
You look to me like I know.
I know, I know. But being like a computer science major, or I'm not sure if you're a major. Are you a major? I don't know.
Well, I have a degree. I have a bachelor's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
computer
See, yeah. Either way. Like, it. First of all, like you've accrued a lot of like student debt, and none of my business whether or not you've paid it off. But I will say that, like, that's one of the worst things that our society and culture has actually done to us young people. Man, is
Oh yeah, of
um,
course.
put them in shackles with these loans. It's crazy. And then,
Yeah.
they're basically exempt from bankruptcy and all of these other things. So it sucks. It's a shame, man. But
Yeah. I
like,
mean,
kudos to you for, like, at least going through it and anyways.
yeah, I mean, so my debt, so I used to think I kind of still do think the same way. I'm like, man, student debt's like BS. But have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, I haven't.
Oh well, basically in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant, the author of the book, Robert Kiyosaki, it's a great book. You should, I think the audiobook's on YouTube for free. But
Okay.
he more or less talks about the concepts and ideas of like cash flow, income, and all that stuff. And so I used to think of the student loan as like, okay, I've got like I got a $20,000 loan. What I used to do is like, I'd be bummed out. It's $20,000, right? But then I broke it down into cash flows because the book kind of talks about this. It's not income that matters. It's actually the cash flow, the money that you keep at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized was, okay, so you have, and he also talks about, balance sheets, balance sheets, assets, liabilities, all that other stuff. And so what I used to do is I would plot out my assets on one side and I plot out my liabilities like you're supposed to. And then I kind of realized, like, wait, okay, the student loan is like, let's say like $25,000, but the monthly payment is only like $230 a month. And like, wow, that's still $230 a month. What I would always do is I would always make sure that the like the difference between that 230 monthly payment and whatever particular cash flow generating asset I have is zero. So basically what I'm saying is, like, as long as you create some type of vehicle, some type of automated vehicle which generates cash flow greater than or equal to the monthly payment on a student loan, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you.
So while so like obviously, I could have money in my pocket at the end of the day if I didn't have a loan. The pain of the loan is eased by the fact that you're virtually paying nothing because you have something automated that's paying it all for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the profits from my mining rig go to paying off my student loan. So
Sure.
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, like, say like I'm working at my day job. I mean, I virtually keep all the money I'm making my day job. It doesn't go to my student loans. My mining stuff goes to my
Yeah,
student
it's
loan.
offsetting that. Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
it offsets it. So I don't worry about it, honestly. But I
Nice.
know other people do worry about it, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
what it
yeah,
was.
and yeah, absolutely, and yeah. So you, I mean, you might be in a little bit of a better position than, a lot of, you know,
Yeah,
I
so I mean, I've been educating my friends on the situation too, because I know that I actually, like, I'm not supposed to, or not necessarily not supposed to. I know more than I'm supposed to for my age. So I mean, I just tell my other friends in college and stuff that are still working. I'm like, hey man, just like, the loan will literally pay itself off if you have a cash flow generating asset to offset the difference.
yeah, and I
It
mean,
doesn't
a
matter
mining
how
rig.
high it is, as long as you have an asset that produces cash flow greater than or equal to the monthly value of the loan. Doesn't matter if you have $1 million loan, you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, a mining rig is perfect. Is like a passive income to like cover that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, but basically that's maybe that's where we're at in this whole development of the space and stuff is there is a whole slew of people that don't know about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But educating them on possible this passive income. You don't have to sell your data to Facebook or Instagram. Start blogging on Steemit. You could generate a little bit of income that way.
It's crazy. So
yeah.
Speaking of adoption, Cliff says, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Cliff says we're at like 1% adoption.
We are,
but yeah, we're probably at 1% global adoption. But I know I saw an article today on
and I think the way
Bitcoin.com.
Yeah.
And it says that the US is at 8%. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, so here's how I kind of interpreted that whole thing. It's not 1% of the population, but I think it's 1% of the wealth of the entire globe that is invested into crypto. So yeah, at 8% is massive. I don't know if I don't
know if I believe that.
Yeah, it and maybe 8%'s lined up to get into crypto, but I doubt that they've pulled the trigger. you know.
Yeah, it goes back to the surveys we see all the time, like, oh, this many people know what it is, but how many people are actually invested?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Yep. But yeah, I mean, we're still at a very low number as far as adoption, and the higher that number grows, the more people actually utilize this stuff. And here's another controversial topic: hodling versus actually using.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I mean, I battle with that myself. But anyway. It's crazy because I mean the use case of these things is what gives them value, right?
But I mean when we talk about use case too, we have to consider that there are a crap load of cryptocurrencies that don't have use cases at all, and if they do have use cases, it may not be the time for that use case to actually it may not be time for that use case to be useful. So an example of that would be the internet in, let's say, 1992. There's a reason why we didn't have like Amazon and the e-commerce boom until I would say the 2000s, and that's because we didn't have the infrastructure from it. Like somebody probably could project that, hey, this is going to happen, but now is not the time because of things like the technology and because of things like adoption. So there are a lot of really ambitious projects that I think are going to fail because of maybe even because of the technology too. But I think they're going to fail because of the adoption, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, you're right. I think timing's huge as far as a lot of these projects, and I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, the best ideas that for the moment in the present time win, right? Those are the ones that continue forward. And yeah, there's a ton of projects out there like that for sure. A lot of them are gonna fail, no doubt.
Yeah, and then I don't think a lot of people realize, like, hey, even though we've had these corrections and crashes, we still haven't had like the crash, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Absolutely. The crash hasn't happened yet. So there's a book called Technological Revolutions in Financial Capital, and it's by this woman called Carlota Perez, and in the book, she kind of talks about like economic booms and stuff that have happened since the 1700s, covers things like the automotive boom, covers things like the what's that thing called? Mass production of cars. There you go. Covers stuff like
Industrial
that.
Revolution.
Covers stuff like the steam engine. Yep. And she talks about these changes that happen when you have these technological revolutions take off. And typically what happens is a whole bunch of people become unemployed. So typically these changes take anywhere between 20 to 30 years to actually fully replace the system before it. So in the case of cryptos, or in the case of technology, before I even get into cryptos, what happens is you see a gigantic crash somewhere during this timeline, and it's usually when adoption is starting to actually becomes a significant factor. So in the case of the internet with the tech boom, I mean, yeah, in the case of the internet with the whole internet boom, um, the it was that revolution, according to the book, was kicked off with the advent of the microprocessor. I think that was like 1971 or something like that, I think. And so with the advent of the microprocessor, what we saw was a gigantic reduction in the price that it cost to create computers. And because everybody now could afford a computer, what happened was we saw new use cases emerge for the use of computers. So before this, nobody had computers in their offices. Businesses didn't need computers, and because it got exponentially cheaper to produce computers, we saw companies like Apple come out, companies like Microsoft come out, which then were responsible for getting computers basically everywhere. And then the next thing was a layer on top of that was connecting these computers. And now because these computers are connected, you have more use cases such as the internet to justify the use case of the internet, which we know formerly is DARPANET, or I think ARPANET.
Yep, that's
only
right.
was used by the military.
Yep.
So now everybody, you have this case of everyone using the internet, not even everyone using the internet, but people bashing the internet like how they bash Bitcoin today.
Yep.
Oh, it's slow. How do we find websites? How do we like, how do I, what if I want to contact somebody? And a whole bunch of other things. Primarily, the internet was used for communication, like email. And then as the infrastructure improved, we saw we saw email. Well, we saw email, become bigger than what it is. We saw what voice over IP, better communication, and then obviously we saw e-commerce and stuff built on that. But another thing that we also see that people forget to fail is that, like, okay, there was a frenzy phase, and I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s, where everybody and their mom was trying to get on the internet, and everyone and their mom was trying to launch a project. So because of this frenzy phase, what happened was like everything was significantly overvalued and use cases were like blown out of proportion. People made them like bigger than what they actually were. And then when investors, when people realized this, we saw a crash and we saw a recession. But what happened out of this recession was we got our Amazons, we got our Microsofts, we got our Googles, we got some of the greatest companies, some of the greatest tech companies ever. So when you talk about crypto, the same thing, if it goes according to this book, could actually happen in crypto. And it's kind of similar if you think about it. So in the tech boom, people only lost the money that they put in. People only lost the money that they invested. They didn't lose more than they invested unless they somehow were leveraged. And it's the same thing in crypto. People are only losing what they put in some of these projects. Just like during the tech boom, there are a whole bunch of shitty companies who were in way over their head. They were just in it to raise money. Like everyone and their mom was creating companies, tech companies in their living room, .coms and everything like that. Crypto, everyone and their mom is creating a crypto token. I've created a crypto token. Like it's not hard. Well, if you're a developer, it's not hard.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. Yeah. I've been
it's
playing around with it. We've been playing around with it, and it's a piece of cake to launch a smart contract onto the main net, man. I mean, you could literally do it in like minutes, 15 minutes if you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes. 15 minutes if you know what you're doing. If you want to do one from scratch, probably like an hour or two.
Right.
But yeah, so we're seeing this. We're kind of seeing the same things, in my opinion. Everyone and mom's making tokens. There's this frenzy where everyone is, oh my God, crypto. And you have a whole bunch of things that actually have no value, and you have a whole bunch of things that are way overvalued. Their value's like overstated. So that's going to justify it. Like eventually when we get to a higher adoption rate, we're going to see the same crash happen followed by a recession, in my opinion. But after that is when like we're going to see like the actual integration phase where regulation, governments, and all that are in line with the prevailing technology, in this case being crypto assets.
And I think and I think what cryptocurrencies and just public blockchain in general are doing, in my view, is like they're setting up the foundation for like the next phase of society. Because I mean, you're right. When this and um always think about this too. But when we do have the next recession, it's going to be worse than a lot of the ones that we've seen before. But this
Yeah,
is on top of all of the nonsense and shenanigans that have been going on in society anyway. So um, that on top of this now alternative way of running society is I mean, it's all mixed in with each other, right? So
yeah,
I mean, so when we talk about like what you were talking about the technological booms, and now cryptocurrency is having its phase, and like the implications are massive. Um, I think of it as regardless of whether or not we have a crash, I for one like hope we have a crash. Because I want to get out of the mess, and I actually, want like people like us to actually build the society that we would like to see, right?
yeah,
But I
man.
always, just real quick, I always like I feel like this technological revolution that's going on right now, though, is even the process is being sped up because we do have education, like at our fingertips, literally.
Yeah,
We have online, whatever courses we could take. We're actually applying the knowledge that we're learning. We're communicating. I mean, things are just they're a lot faster than they were, back in 1920 when you had to jog, a mile to tell your neighbor something that, you discovered or whatever. It's just a lot. It's happening a lot more rapidly, I think.
yeah. So, I mean, the funny thing about it is like it's never been this easy to learn something,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you got to think about it, bro. Like, I think we've never had this. I'm not gonna say whatever. I think we've never had this many stupid people
I
ever.
mean, I agree with that. I
I don't want to say
do.
stupid. I want to say
I mean,
ignorant. But
yeah,
hey,
yeah. I mean,
I'm
there.
from Jersey. Man. This is how we talk.
No, no, no. I'm with you, man. Like I don't I take no offense to it, and those who take offense to it might subconsciously be worried about
Yeah,
something. But I mean, you're right though, man. Um, but it's like it. But I think I don't know. I always think that it's an opportunity for us to step in and help these people out, though.
yeah,
Because it's like it's a problem. It's a huge problem. But
yeah.
they've been
It is.
constrained in the typical way we do business, and they're comfortable with that. So when that goes away, they're going to be extremely uncomfortable, and and you're going to have to evolve or you know move in transition slowly into learning this new stuff. Uh,
Yeah,
but
that's
but
that. Sorry about that.
technology, no, you're good, man. But technology has to make it easy for these people to actually, function. And I think that's one of the most important things. Um, and even just getting into crypto, right? When crypto first came out, it was hard. You had to find somebody on Craigslist that had a Bitcoin, and go, they had the address. You had to go give them cash. They would give you the
Oh my
address.
god.
Dude, it was, yeah. So I mean, just how far we've come from that. It's and this on all realms of technology, right? We've got to make it easy for these people that don't know how to use it, that don't know what they're doing, and I mean, make like this user experience extremely intuitive.
Yeah. And so that's the funny thing too. So even that goes back to the internet. When the internet came out, there was no, you got to think about it, there's no Google.
I
So
know.
you had to know where you were going. You couldn't just aimlessly, just search things. There was no search. We had attempts at that. Just like in crypto, we have attempts at solving a particular problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back then Yahoo was the thing. They physically archived where websites were. That was their thing, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
at the time it was king. It was people loved Yahoo. I literally remember we weren't going to Google when I was in elementary school until like maybe like fourth or fifth grade. Our home pages were Yahoo.
Yeah, ours was Ash Jeeves, man.
Oh my god. I think he's retired now. But yeah, I literally remember, okay, like in terms of like prioritizing search engines in elementary school when we were on our little Emacs with the blue back with the blue the blue backs or whatever.
Yep.
Like it was Yahoo, then it was Ask Jeeves, and then it was Google.
Yep.
And then what the hell happened? We saw Yahoo make the bad deal. Long story short, Google's where it is now because of great decisions made by the owners and bad decisions made by everybody else. But like you can kind of take those infrastructure things and you can compare it to crypto. Let's use Bitcoin for an example. Bitcoin, we know in December the network was bogged down with high fees and stuff like that. But what we're seeing is scaling solutions. Although it's a layer 2 scaling solution, we're still seeing scaling solutions and theories and stuff that people are coming up with to improve the integrity of the network, to improve transaction times, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So it just like, bro, this is literally to an extent like a parallel with the tech boom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I find myself all the time, although I'm reading about, you can't see it, but my like my little library stuff is over there. But like I find myself just reading and going back into history because history is kind of repeating itself. I'm looking at, okay, this is happening here. Okay, what are the clues here, or what are things that I should look out for that might indicate that, like, okay, I might need to get the hell out of this particular crypto because after reading about this and discovering its use cases and then doing my due diligence, this thing is overhyped or whatever.
Absolutely. So what? Yeah. So that's interesting. What connections have you made thus far? Anything? Right now, today, present day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have crypto assets that are overvalued, just like tech boom crypto. I mean, stocks that are overvalued of tech companies that will never do anything. We have shit coins. We have shit stocks. We have crypto assets that actually have true value, that actually have a significant use case in a significant niche that involve the use of a cryptocurrency. And we had significant projects or significant companies that aim to solve significant problems during the tech boom, such as Google, solve the problem search. We saw Cisco come out with networking devices.
Yep.
We saw things like IEEE. I think it's IEEE come out with standards for communication for things like Wi-Fi 802.11, 8, everything in the alphabet A through Z. And just infrastructure-based companies that came in when they needed to, and because they came in at the right time and not too early, they made the space better. Just like crypto assets that are solving specific problems that are making the space better and more legitimate. Perfect example of that is Ethereum.
Yep.
Smart, smart contract platform with virtually infinite use cases, from making a damn game about cats to making futures contracts, futures contracts between people that you can use to track the index of a particular price.
Yeah.
To the gambling, like,
I've always been, yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. So I think, so we have crypto, and cryptography that is really like changing the game for a lot of these different things, right? Streaming, whatever. I mean, you could think of something, and there's cryptography probably behind it that or
that never even knew about.
Absolutely. But I think one of the interesting things though is like the mechanics behind how the cryptography is being like linked together, right, and put together, and that is like, for example, like the governance structure or DAO, so like this distributed autonomous organization. So you have this this crypto economic entity that is making decisions best fit for the people that are using it. It's crazy though. So governance is insane. Crazy. Yeah.
But when we start, I think it's crazy, but I think so. I try to be realistic, and I don't see. I don't see us getting to a point where decisions like things like government governance and all that between people, people in an organization. I need to understand more on how that works on a human level and at a code level, or better yet, I'm not too sold on the idea of just human governments being done in code.
Yeah, and I mean, and you don't even have to. You don't even think of humans interacting with other humans. You could take a problem that humans deal with, right? And like, I mean, we use it right now. Bitcoin. It takes the financial institutions out of play, right? And we can
Yep.
now depend on a system that through game theoretics and miners validating all of these transactions that people send back and forth to each other, and we can actually believe and trust in that.
Yeah, we can trust that. We can trust that.
Yeah, so there's so similar mechanics taking being dropped into different parts of society, basically having the same kind of um, uh, what am I trying to say? Basically having the same de defining something similar, having a similar operation, if you will.
Okay.
Just through different aspects. I mean, having an entire country being governed by some software. That's, I mean, yeah. I
I'll be
mean,
terrified.
dude, yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about probably like a future pretty far away. You
Yeah,
know.
I would be terrified because at least
Um,
at least at least with humans making decisions, at least we can just kick their ass. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about I don't know how I feel about code governing us and like shit just turns into iRobot. Like I'd be scared. But
No, I
whatever
mean,
country that is, like imagine if that thing is like a virus or something that gets like
no,
hacked.
I
Like, I'm
mean,
getting the hell out.
but I mean, we are treading those waters now, and
Yeah, we
like a
are.
lot of people don't realize this, but like machine learning is um,
It's the
it's
thing.
pretty it is that and blockchain mixed together is I saw the meme of that one dude holding a girl, and another girl walking past, and he's looking back
Oh
at her,
shit.
and he's looking back at her, and that is machine learning, and or that is blockchain while he's holding machine learning,
Yeah.
but always like I love the two integrated together. Um,
Yeah. So
but we have intelligence agencies that have like the access to incredible technologies
yeah.
that they're utilizing right now, and manipulate certain decisions that happen in society on a geopolitical scale. So not even here at home. I mean, so anyways, it's pretty crazy, and I mean, I do agree with being afraid um, uh, to some extent, but you know, we probably get that naturally because of who's actually been running shit now. Um,
oh,
you
Agent
know,
Orange.
yeah. What's that?
Agent Orange.
Yeah, I mean, anything, right?
Oh, okay.
All that stuff. But I mean, we naturally have that, that thinking because of the way that things are now.
Yeah.
All these intelligent communities and stuff like that. But I think, taking that control away from them and actually having an open source, also big on open source, um, o- on everything, technology, research, development, all that stuff
Yes.
being
Yeah.
accessible to um, you know societies at large would be, I think it's beneficial, man. And we would naturally, I think, make hopefully moral decisions. But who knows? Who knows?
What's your Yeah, I don't even know the answer to that. But what's your take on the global adoption of crypto? Because I had a discussion with a friend, and like we came to a really interesting conclusion for a timeline. But what's your take on it? When I say
So
global adoption, I mean like I'm sure you've
yeah,
seen Antonopoulos' speeches on mobile phones and stuff, and it's going to like the kid in like Malaysia or something like that.
I 100% like align with Andreas on this. only because you know like my family and I kind of grew up in poverty, right?
Yeah.
And the way that geopolitics is run, like the U.S. dollar has a lot of political sway, economic sway, on basically they control a lot of countries overseas through um, monetary contracts,
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
whatever, right? So when countries are squeezed like that, um, dude, at the end of the day, I think people in groups will always outweigh the few who are leading these countries, and they're always going to make the best decisions for themselves. And I think with cryptos working the way that they do, the only thing that we worry about is some kind of expression of language to send a value to somebody else for an exchange of something tangible, right?
Yeah.
And we have that. So if they're able to do that through anyways, I mean, long story short, I'm here trying to explain it, but I think global adoption is coming probably faster than we think,
Yeah.
and only for that reason, because we have these economies that are constrained and collapsing. I mean, right before our eyes, man.
Yeah. I think I think it'll happen in around 10 years, 10 more years.
Yeah,
So I was so when I had this discussion with my friend, um I noticed one thing. So I used to have a Galaxy, I think it was an S4. Yeah, I had a Galaxy S4.
mm-hmm,
This was around 2013, and it costed around $500 for me to get. Cost me around $500 for me to get a Galaxy S4, and I got a different phone from Samsung. I got the J7, which more or less has the same specs as the S4, and I got that phone in, I want to say, 2000 2000. I want to say I got that phone like it had to have been like 2017, I think. Yeah, I got the phone in 2017. And this phone costed around $220, but it had equal to or greater than specs than my S4, which costed me
hmm,
around $500. I got it from the same vendor too. And what I obviously there's what I'm trying to focus on is this decrease. Obviously, the large decrease in price you see for the same tech.
mm-hmm.
So
So
I
yeah,
think,
yeah, and just to toss something in here, it like I'll always worry about that stuff. I think um um I think giving access to everybody, giving like a phone or internet access to the entire globe is like imperative right now. Um
well, it
and
might actually happen.
yeah, and to be able to do that, um, at least from a phone aspect, right? There's like commodities that go into these things.
Yeah,
We have whatever, I don't know, iron, whatever, aluminum,
yeah,
silicone, a ton of shit that goes into these things. And from a commodity standpoint, like we do have to be conscientious about like how we're consuming these things. And I think that's another way that we could like utilize blockchain, or even like um, AI or machine learning, to help us not over consume or over develop or over produce these things into like you know um, catastrophe.
yeah,
We don't want to basically walk in, you know be our own doom. We definitely have to be careful with that for sure.
yeah.
Um,
We got to be careful with that. But I mean, the point I was trying to make was I was trying to connect that to global adoption.
yeah,
I think global adoption is a real thing because I got a phone with the same specs for a fraction of the price,
yeah,
and I want to say that the price more or less went down by more than half in 4 years. So if this trend continues, we're gonna see we're gonna see phones below obviously phones below my below the what's that called, below the specifications of my phone. One,
mm-hmm,
they're gonna be even cheaper than they were 4 years prior. And this decrease in price is going to allow for more people to have phones, not just obviously not just in America. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom has a phone in America by now.
Yeah.
If not, they have access to it. I'm talking about like third world countries.
Yep.
We're going to see a huge spike in ownership with this. More people are going to have smartphones, and because more people are going to have smartphones, it's going to give an incentive. More people are going to have access to the use cases of crypto. And on top of crypto, what crypto has to do is crypto has become these crypto tokens, crypto assets, whatever, they need to become more easy for people to use. And we're already seeing that. So there are services already that are translating public keys into kind of like domain names, if that makes sense. So that's kind of funny because when we look at the book I mentioned previously, I think it's called Technological Revolutions of Financial Capital. What we often see is like in the beginning of a new like tech movement, we start seeing people design particular things in that tech movement that mimic the previous movement before it. So this idea of public keys of people looking like domain names, and I just thought of this right now, like this just hit me. It's an example of
that's how it works though, man.
Yeah, it's an example of people mimicking people taking something from the previous system and like kind of mimicking it in a new system. And another example of this was the first prototypes for cars were built with the image of horses in mind. I believe they weren't used, like there weren't steering wheels. Steering wheels is something that entirely came upon its own.
Oh yeah.
They kind of had like I believe like levers or something like that to kind of mimic the reins of horses. We're laughing now because like we're like, hey, that's silly. But like back then, they probably thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. Because that's all they knew at the time. You know, they like you got to think to come up with something new is hard.
It is, yeah. And we're at the front lines where the novel ideas are being generated now.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 10 years we could be laughing at how the use cases of these of even cryptography, man.
Yeah.
Public and private keys, and now we're using them.
Yeah, we really could be laughing at all this. So while like something like, okay, a public key looking like a domain name or an email, 20 years later, 10 years later, we might be laughing at that idea. Right now, it's the only thing we know because it's what we've been used to based on our previous system. And also to make things interesting, global internet. I don't know if it's true. I saw a post, and I probably should have done more research into it, but
does it have to do with Elon Musk?
Yeah,
then it's true.
True.
Yeah.
So that might be the next like decreasing cost of technology. Like this might be a thing, man.
Yeah, and that's absolutely. And so when you have a lot of research and development, at least back in the day, in the old system, if you will, was done in was very compartmentalized, right? Like you mentioned earlier, DARPA came out with basically founded the internet, and that's how they connected different computers and had them communicate with each other. So what we're seeing now is a lot of research and development happening at the public sector. So now you have Elon Musk messing around with space, messing around with the space age shit. So rocketry, re-landing them, and then doing it at a fraction of the cost that these other contractors are doing it for. So the more we have back to what the whole open source thing, the more we have access to these things, the more we're going to figure out different use cases for them or novel ideas on new inventions or innovations. And that's like, I love that shit, man. I love being I love the time that we're in right now, because that's exactly where we're at. I forget what point I was trying to make, but yeah, it's true though, man. I mean, Elon Musk is doing incredible things. So, anyways, we have Elon Musk, at least for the public sector, to launch satellites out into space. He's going to do whatever he can with the resources that he has to develop a society that he's probably envisioned for quite a while. So launching a satellite into space, man, that is accessible to anybody and that could scale to give the globe internet. That's a hell of an ambition, and like I hope it gets done.
Yeah, I think what is it? I read his biography, and I think I think it's Mars by 2020. I don't remember.
Damn, yeah, dude, that's 2 years away.
It's either Mars by 2020 or 2020, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've listened to his biography around like 3 or 4 times, and to get to where he is was not easy at all. Especially
no way.
With SpaceX, they've almost gone bankrupt.
Absolutely. Yep.
Several times.
I mean, I remember
going bankrupt too.
Yep. I remember the dude in an interview, like, basically like bawling because this was like the last chance to, it was either this or nothing. And yeah, it's insane, man. But that is the life of somebody, basically putting everything on the line, trying to change the way we see reality, right? That is a true visionary for sure in my eyes. I dig Elon.
But even with the success of SpaceX, what we're seeing is that companies are, or at least aerospace, space travel industry is a primary example of companies becoming complacent.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, and because what happened was because companies had this extreme complacency, they didn't have that there was no need to innovate.
Yeah, dude, they got outmaneuvered, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no need to innovate at all.
Yep.
And it costed them in the long run.
Yep. And I think I think we're going to see that with a lot of the monopolies that we have in any tech industry, cable, internet.
Don't get me started with internet.
No,
my God.
All of that, man. I mean, they don't have an incentive to, maintain, but upgrade their infrastructure to scale. I mean, they see dollars and profits, and they don't see into the future. They're literally driven by every quarter.
Yeah, I can't. I feel like there's no real competition among internet providers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. I hate even with internet. I just hate how companies realize that they should be charging people for the data that they used, and it's just it's such a ridiculous headache. Like, we're getting such low speeds compared to other first world countries, and at the same time, we're having to pay much more than them too.
Yeah, I took a trip to Romania, I think like 4 years ago, for the company I was working with. Back when I don't work for them anymore. But dude, Romania's internet is phenomenally fast. It's incredibly fast, but their infrastructure is terrible.
Yeah,
there's wires and shit all over the place. But it doesn't. Regardless, yeah. And that's, I don't know if they pay for it or if that's actually given to them as it is a society through, whatever. Because they also have like free dental and shit like that. So it could be it could be a program like that. Who knows? I'm not sure. But
you think Romania is good? Wait till you go to Tokyo.
Is it bad over there?
No. My brother, because he was in the military, he got to live in Southeast, he got to live in Asia. So he got to live in Japan, he got to live in South Korea. And he was just telling me, like, yeah, speeds that companies like AT&T and Verizon are offering at the consumer level, like they wouldn't last in Japan or South Korea.
Damn.
From an infrastructure standpoint and from a speed, like from a quality of service standpoint, they just would not last. First of all, AT&T is shitty customer service, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Probably one of like the worst experiences I ever had. I was trying to set up internet for one of the units that I run for my business, and it more or less took me 6 hours of just phone calls So customer service experience was not good. I don't know how it is for everyone else, but I know for me it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the pricing was just ridiculous. Just I'm getting a terabyte of data a month. What happened to like unlimited data and stuff like that? I'm not with it. I'm not with it. It was never like that when broadband and stuff and all that first came out.
So you're being even capped on your internet data?
You're capped on your internet data, and it's not even well, you're capped on hotspots too, but you're capped on internet data just for residential. It's ridiculous.
Damn. Yeah. That's definitely so we live in Longmont. We're in Colorado.
Yeah.
And so Longmont kicked off this initiative, and it was, I think, a citizen initiative that basically said, you know, we want a public owned utility that's going to give us broadband fiber optic internet to the entire city of Longmont. So, anyways, they got it through. It's been in the work. I mean, it took forever to actually get it implemented, but it's up and running now. And basically, we pay like a really small fee for what's the speed again?
I don't know.
I forget what the hell. Anyways, the speed is crazy. It's fiber optic, right? But it's a community owned internet service.
So what is that like? What are you getting, like 100 megabits or something?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. So it's 100 megabytes for like, I mean, we pay flat rate fee. It'll never go up unless the cost of the maintenance of the infrastructure goes up, right? And we get, you know, we'll get all of these we'll get the bills and shit for these things, but it's
is it under $40?
No, it's $60, I think it is. $60. Yeah.
But it's unlimited data though.
Yeah, unlimited, right, exactly.
Yeah. Picture paying like $70 for 50 megabits per second speed and a 1 terabyte cap. And if you go over it, you have to pay $10 per gigabyte. Ridiculous, dude.
That's insane. Yeah. Yep.
And then just streaming one show on Netflix on average on standard definition is a gigabyte, I believe.
Damn. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like we haven't had to worry about that shit. I mean, yeah, like you were saying, the hotspot is capped. I've rarely used a hotspot on my phone.
Oh, don't even use, unless you're a millionaire. Don't even use one of their hotspots.
Yeah, I know. That's insane, man. That's terrible. So yeah. I think innovation is you know will happen much faster at a much greater pace when, you know, actually people don't have to worry about paying for internet. They just have access to it. That's it. That's
going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's those small little savings down here at the level of reality that actually change, you know, just emotions, and people change the way that things are run. It's cool, man. It's crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing with me, I just want competition to force companies to like just stop being like just greedy, man. Well, not even greedy. I don't care about greed because I mean people got to make money, but I just need competition to like change this marketing, change these bullshit pricing plans, and change like the shitty service that's being offered.
Yep. And
obviously, like I don't know. America's weird in the sense of like our internet is not prioritized in terms of speeds and stuff, or just infrastructure, I guess in general is not as prioritized as other countries. Like my bro would tell me when he was in Japan and South Korea, any issues with the road, like the team was out there the same day to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's something like 60% of our tax revenue gets spent on you know, military expenditures and shit. And I mean it you know, it shows. I don't know. I think this happened in, I forget where it was, Florida. But you know, the bridge just collapsed the other day, and that was a brand new bridge that they were putting up. I mean, that means we're either not hiring goods, these
Yeah, the
civil or
engineers
structural
probably went to
engineers.
Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
So
also
now,
it was they're also building, like, there's more bridges and other infrastructure being built too, like in a number of places as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
It's still being built using that same technology.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. And that's just Florida. Yeah. I mean, this is all over the place, and it shows. It shows, man. It's unfortunate, but yeah, hopefully these are the things that change, because yeah, I mean, other countries have their priorities straight, and that's the one thing they have for them is actually, you know, um to maintain their existence.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You have anything else, dude?
Um, I think so. How'd you feel about this? I guess, can we call it a bear market? Can we call it
Yeah,
that?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I yeah, I think so. What do I think about it?
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Um, like emotionally, it's fucking drained me, dude. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, it has. It has, because I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. There's always this little. Uh, I always. I don't know, man. I always get. It always scares me. Always scares me when it starts dipping like that. Okay, and then there's no bottom, and then it just continues and continues and continues.
Hey man,
Isn't
you
Um,
know
that
what you
all
signed
there
up
is?
for?
Hey, no, I do. But then at the end of the day, and this is where I think, even now, I think I'm having a transformation, if you will, happen. I'm evolving with the crypto space, because at some point you have to forget about that. You have to forget about. It can go down to the price of $1. Am I going to still use it? Yes, because it takes me away from the current system that
Yeah,
I absolutely despise. It takes me
yeah,
away from that. I don't have to be involved in it. I could utilize something else that I actually believe in, and would much rather support, and it has my
that would
backing.
be
And
crazy.
yeah.
Oh
So
my,
I know,
oh my
I know,
God!
I
I'd
know.
probably turn my phone off. People, yo, I have so many like shit talkers. I would
Yeah,
just turn my phone off because I'm not trying to hear that shit.
yeah, yeah. But it's got me to focus it's got us to focus, honestly,
Yeah,
on the technology, and actually uh, mess around with programming these things, understand smart contracts and how they're written,
yeah,
look for flaws, look for shit that could be improved. So I've spent more of my time actually, delving into that stuff, as opposed to worrying about where the hell it's gonna go tomorrow.
yeah,
But yeah, I think um, honestly, I think that we're done, man. A lot of FUD has come from mainstream.
yeah.
Um, we had this whole Mount Gox trustee dumping a ton of bitcoins into the
That was
market.
crazy.
Dude, that's yeah. So maybe, who knows? I don't know. There's like, that could have been the entire cause of this thing. Who knows? I mean, we could speculate all day long, but at the end of the day, there's adoption that's still needs to happen. There's entire cash flows of money and GDP of entire nations still, thinking about getting into the space. It still need to come in.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's just. I think we'll look back in a few years, and it'll be just a small little blip.
yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta do. I need to do reading because I wanna know what is it. Wh- Obviously, we're saying it's a matter of time,
yeah.
but I want to know what is like that event horizon for adoption. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. So I mean, I'm gonna. I want to do a little bit of research, or maybe I probably already said it during the interview. I just don't remember. But I want to know what that like. I know what the symptoms were of mass adoption for the internet. Like that's what I spoke about here. But I want to know what that event horizon was, where it's like, okay, boom, like adoption is like going this way now.
Yeah.
Obviously, or there may not even be one. It might just be, okay, these are the factors that these are the things that need to happen. And okay, adoption just goes on a linear curve. But I think linear curves in terms of adoption are rare. I've seen several charts for adoption where it's not a linear curve; it's an exponential curve. So I want to know.
So you
I want to
see,
know
you
what
see,
happened.
yeah. So you see like this parabolic,
Yes,
okay, movement on the rate of the adoption.
very
Damn.
very
So
parabolic, and then it rounds off at the top.
yeah. So that um yeah, yeah. I don't know what that would be. I don't.
Yes, I want to figure out what that event horizon is, because whoever figured is that, well, obviously there's like, you're gonna be rich as hell if you figure it out, but like it's it's
I think
it's
there's
just
too
like
many
a cheat, you know what I'm saying?
variables, man. I don't
What?
know. I think there's too many variables. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Who knows? And maybe there's a way around it. But even right now, we rely on mainstream media to try and you know um, give us news on cryptocurrencies and
yeah,
Bitcoin.
that's
And
disgusting.
yeah, and this goes back to the whole, the majority of the population is, they're still sleepwalking, man.
Yeah,
Um,
because
yeah,
I mean, I like to say, like, yo, I barely even understand. Well, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I barely even understand this thing. So I always say, like, yo, there's no way you have the credentials to report on this thing, where it's, you don't, like, you can't just know like finance to get this. You need to know economics, you need to know finance, you need to know
oh my
like
God,
computer
yeah,
science,
yep,
specifically public private key cryptography and distributed systems. Um
yep,
like there's just no, few people have the credentials to just like get in front of a national TV and just like report about it. That's why, like, when I see all these people go up there, not like people who are getting interviewed, because they typically, like, news, they'll ping in somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about, I hope.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like when you have people already on the network talking about it, I'm like, there's no way you understand this shit.
yeah,
Sometimes I get frustrated, because I'm like, yo, this is actually slowing down what needs to happen, because
absolutely,
misinformation is being put out, and that's one of the downfalls of not the downfalls of the information age, but that's one of the problems of an information age, is you have to rely on people's ability to filter real from fake, honest to God from bullshit.
yeah. So you have that, and then you have the cognitive dissonance that's being challenged too. So there's like, it's insane, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, But yeah, so whenever you see it on TV or whatever, it's always about price, man. It's never about, oh shit, we actually have this trustless system, where you don't have to rely on the people that are funding us anymore. You
I
know?
think I think when we get to that, well, TV is not as big as people. It's not as big as it used to be, but
Yeah, agreed,
I I
agreed.
think uh I think when we get to that stage where like the biggest news platform in I guess modern history starts putting out information like that,
Yes.
I think that's when we will, I think that might be like one of the signs that we're getting close to that event horizon.
Yeah, and that's why I'm always a fan of having conversations like this, because I mean it's this alternative media that is educating the people to actually think about the things that they should probably be thinking about, as opposed to listening to the shit on TV or
Yeah.
on these networks.
I
Um,
actually need to I actually need to write that down on my whiteboard. So I'm glad we had that, we spoke about that.
yeah, yeah, it's that, and um, yeah, what's gonna bring the parabolic transition? I don't know. I don't know. We rely on, like, the hopes of Facebook trying to transition, possibly Litecoin as a payment system and all of these things.
I don't think it's gonna happen
I know. I Yeah, no,
as
I
soon as we
agree.
think.
Right.
because it gets to a point. Zuck's not an idiot, but if things get to a point where Facebook's competitors are doing it, they'll do it off of sheer like, we have to do this thing, or else we will fall out. We won't be a business anymore. I don't, as far as a person to partake in the initial disruption, I don't see that happening, especially with the things they've got going on now.
Right.
I haven't read fully into it, but I know Facebook's in some muddy waters right now. I think
they're in muddy waters, no doubt. And Mark's been like extremely quiet, man, since that shit. So yeah, it's probably bigger than we think it is.
Yes.
So yeah. So those are like the variables that we hope for or whatever. But I don't know. Economically, I don't know. I hope that there's like a different path to like have mass adoption happen faster than just a slow incline. Because I hope for that.
But
I do.
There's that's a sign we should look for though.
No doubt.
Basically gauge the information being put out on the biggest distributors of news that the average person uses. Once you can judge, once you look at once you see the biggest distributors putting out accurate information, that's a sign based off of, and if you don't need to go too deep into it. That's just a sign that we're getting close to that, or we're in it. So look out for that.
No doubt. Absolutely. And I think I mean, education is key, especially right now. So I think you're right. When we start seeing the actual education of what the hell is happening, that's a good sign, no doubt.
Yep.
No doubt.
Because that's actually something that we're missing. Maybe not even. I'm glad you brought that up too. Now I'm starting to remember my research and all that now. In terms of education, we need the infrastructure has to. This is great. Now I'm remembering. These are the signs of the event horizon in terms of education, right? We need to look out for people not having to understand how the system works in order to use it. In the internet, like I don't need to understand TCP/IP protocols, like domain name servers. I don't need to understand IPv6, IPv4. I don't need to understand any of that in order to use the internet. Like I go to my mom asking me about IPv4, she probably smacked me in my face. Like you don't need to understand that in order to use the internet.
Right.
When crypto assets get to a point where you don't need to understand cryptography, you don't need to understand distributed systems, you don't need to understand consensus, then I want to say that's a pretty good sign that we're here.
Yeah. And even I would even go as far as saying you don't even have to understand economics.
Yes.
Because if it is benefiting you for the moment, incentivizing you to use something, and benefiting those people around you, then naturally that is something good, right? So yeah.
And that's one of the signs. That's one of the signs that we're still in an early adoption phase, because when you ask your question, hey, could I use this if I didn't understand surface level cryptography, surface level distributed systems, surface level, all that surface level stuff. If you ask yourself the question, if you didn't understand it, would you still be able to use this thing? And if your answer is no, then we aren't where we need to be yet.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is,
and it's got, I mean, great. we're definitely in the infancy stage still, no doubt about it. It's got a lot of growing to do, man. A lot of scaling to do.
Agree. So this is like, I'm glad this happened, because like now I'm remembering all this stuff.
No, dude, me too. I've been wanting to do this for a bit, so like yeah, thank you for coming on. And we got to do it again soon though, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Have to.
yeah, let me know. Just like shoot me a date, shoot me a time, and like we can do it. Unless like, well, I just finished staging a unit, so I think I'm free during the weekends. But I know typically during the weekends I have I just have business stuff to do. But if you let me know in advance, like we can always set something up. I'm always down to talk.
Sweet. Yep. Me too, man.
Like we can even like we ideally we should you should shoot to have like a panel of people, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have do you have anybody else I mean you think would be down to chat? I
Um,
don't know.
I can off the top. I don't think so.
Yeah. It's all good.
Not to the degree that we're talking.
Okay. Okay. I
I'm
think.
pretty sure you could find people in like Cryptoholics or even like Omar's group
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
that would be down for a discussion like this.
Okay, cool. Um, no, you know it'd be cool. And you know, the schedules are you know probably staggered. Everybody has crazy schedules and shit. But we should probably like
This is good for weekends.
yeah, I'd be cool to set this up like you know bi-weekly or something. Just to
Yep.
you know constantly have a chat, figure out what's going on in the space, and keep up to date, man.
Yep.
Right on. Awesome. Well,
All right, but
we'll
we're let me make sure I'm following you. Do you
yeah, it's
have
all
a
good. Yeah,
let
so
me
no.
follow you on Steemit?
Yeah, let oh yeah, by the way, your Steemit name, say it, man. I like I think that's cool.
Oh yeah,
It's a good
you
message,
guys
man.
can follow me on Steemit at broke college grad. It's all one word.
Yep. Right on. And then you guys could follow me on Steemit at Gone Rogue. So G0N G0 UE, I think. Something like that.
In the description.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll toss it in the description. No worries.
it'll be in the description.
Yeah, yep. I'll link you to. I'll tag you in the post that I put up on DTube. But yeah,
Cool.
man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your
Any,
time,
anytime.
and we'll chat soon, man.
All right, bro.
Man. Take care.
You too.
Later.
See you.
All right, you guys. I should have to end this. All right. Never mind.